Okay, folks, this will be an interesting one. This takes me back to when I was a kid, when I was a 5-year-old. I think I was 5 years old, although it's something we use pretty much almost every day in some way, shape, or form, and something people get too fucking obsessed with, nonetheless. Let's see how we go with this. And the whole world is full of it, as in people who worship this. See how we go with it. I don't know how it's going to look. Okay, let's see what this is. It is a 50-cent coin. Okay, this reminds me of my childhood, funnily enough, because when I was a kid, well, my dad's always been stingy, right? And basically I have memories of 50-cent pieces because I really, as a kid, loved the polygon shape that it is. And I wanted one of these because of the polygon. I don't think I knew the worthness of it as coin, but basically I really liked the polygon shape and I wanted one, but my dad wouldn't give me one. The maximum amount of money I would have got back when I was a 5-year-old, I think I was a 5-year-old or 4, maybe 5, and it was a 20-cent piece. Because, I don't know why Dad wouldn't give me a 50 when I wanted one. You know, something, because I really liked the shape of it, folks. I really liked the polygon. And I actually was really upset that I couldn't have one. But basically, my dad was really stingy, and he's always been a stingy fart. He's always been a mean and horrible person, period. But it's like he embodies the worst in a father. You know, he's a dickhead. You know, he hates my photocopier art. He hates me being myself. He expects me to be normal. He doesn't respect me as an artist, and he really isn't a nice person, and he's a bully and a teaser. He likes making me angry. He likes working me up into a rage, and I just can't get over what a mean-spirited little shit my father is. He hates my photocopier art. He'll only do things for me if they represent me becoming a normal sort of person, you know, a normal person, folks, in inverted commas. And he just won't, he just has never really encouraged myself as me as an artist, as a photocopier artist, so I basically hate his guts. And he's got a birthday coming up sometime in November. I forgot when. I don't care anyway that I've forgotten his birthday. But he's such a dick. He's such a fucking horrible person. And I'm really disappointed that my dad, I always wanted to be Daddy's little girl. I'm pretty sure of it, folks. But he never showed his love for me. He's like, you know, it's really funny. I was talking to my dad about a song on the radio by an artist called Howard Jones. So who remembers Howard Jones from 1983? Well, Howard Jones wrote a song called What Is Love, and it was a big hit on the radio, and I really liked that song. It was a really cool song. Now, I'm just wondering which one I'm going to work with. This looks a bit wishy-washy, and that one's got more definition, even though it's a bit heavy. But basically, the song was called What Is Love, and I forgot the exact context it was in that I was discussing this song with my dad, but my dad thought I was asking him the question, what is love? And okay, we'll assume I asked that question, but I didn't. But basically he returned the question, what is love? He actually asked the question because he thought I was saying to him what is love, asking him what is love, and I was a 10-year-old, and he said, what is love? As in he returned the question like he didn't know what love was. He knew nothing about love. There you go. That answers the question as to why the bitch was such a horrible fucking asshole. Because he doesn't know what love is, and he actually fucking tripped himself up on it. He doesn't know what love is. Dad knows not what love is. What is love anyway? Does anybody love anybody anyway? What is love? That's the Howard Jones, some bars out of that Howard Jones song that I was talking to my dad about. But basically, Dad basically tripped himself up in saying what he's returning the question, what he thought was a question. I didn't actually ask him the question, if I remember correctly, but I was talking about the song. And he just asked me, returned the question, what is love? What a fucking dweeb. Not dweeb, what a fucking idiot. What a fucking retard. Sorry about the use of the word retard, that's not a very good, nice word, but that's my dad. He's not smart, he's not clever. He comes from a lineage of buffoons, stupid people, and really, he isn't a nice person. He hates my photocopier art, and he expects me to be normal. I have both disability and I'm also smart. I'm both. So basically, he hates my creative use of the photocopier, and he's always tried to discourage me from it. He tells me I should do painting and drawing, but I say, fuck you, Dad. Fuck your painting and drawing. It is fucking boring like you. And he doesn't have any of my artwork hanging on his wall. He's got fucking prints from some snooty, stupid snooty, you know, what you buy from a shop, commercial shit. It's shit. He doesn't care that he's insulted me as an artist. And one of the things he did I never did drugs or alcohol. I never had sex. I never did drugs, alcohol, cigarettes. I never went to parties that were like destructo parties or any kind of party. And yet I was treated pejoratively about my photocopier art. And there was one instance where my dad was telling me, we just came home from the library, and I'd been doing my photocopier art, which is the usual use I had to go to the library. And my dad got angry and he said, hand over those photocopies. Like he was saying, hand over that gun. Like he was a policeman saying, hand over that gun. Hand over that gun. Hand over those photocopies. It's like, fuck you, Dad. But no, he upset me. He made me cry into hysterics. He brought me to tears because he told me to hand over the photocopies, and then he just tore them in half. Fucktard. He tore them in half. He ripped up my artwork. And he was a real fucktard. And it's like, fuck me dead, what did I do wrong? You know, it's like, what, you ever thought, you know? And I was just crying, and I was begging my dad not to ban me from it. And incidentally, this stinginess with the finances continued into my teen years. So I never got given much pocket money. And basically, I was just given money just enough to get school lunches and school morning teas. And that was all I was allowed. I never had pocket money, so my dad's been a fucking stinge all his fucking life. And I know this was wrong to do, but I had to steal from my dad's fucking cupboard some change, including 50-cent pieces, so I could keep doing my art. I know that was probably not the right thing to do, but my dad was so fucking stingy. He used to give us good presents, like gifts for Christmas and birthday, but every other part of the year, he was stingy. You know, he was fucking stingy, folks. And I really hate him. He's a bully and a teaser. He liked to wind me up. When I was living at his place, he tried to get me into trouble. So he basically used to wind me up and then I'd explode, and then Dad had a reason to get angry at me. And basically, yeah, there was an instance, at least one instance, where the police was called because I made a huge ruckus, and my dad hit me on the neck. He did this to me, folks. He went like this, like that, hit me once on the neck, and somehow I don't think it was him that called the police. I don't know, but the police were called, and I could have had my dad fucking charged for assault, but I was too fucking gutless and too fucking scared that it would make things worse, so I didn't report it. But I ended up being driven by the police back to my mum's house to get away from my fucktard father. So he can be violent sometimes, and I never hurt him. I never hit him. I just shrieked. I don't know whether I shrieked first before he hit me or whether it was I shrieked in response to him hitting me, but it was a really nasty argument and nasty fight. This was back in 2012, and this is back in 2012 in April, so I won't forget that date, that rough time. So I'm telling you, folks, my dad's an asshole, and I'm going to try and I tell you one thing, Daddy, Graham Victor Huddy, you're supposed to be my daddy. You're a fucking teaser and a bully, and I'm not going to respect you until you apologise to me on the 6 o'clock news. And my brother's an asshole, and the same goes for my brother. Stephen Graham Huddy, apologise to me on the 6 o'clock news. You too, mate. You might be in Adelaide, but you can just ring up the Adelaide equivalent of the channel that this appears on. Whatever channel these videos appear on, Stephen and Dad, go fuck yourselves until you fucking ring the TV channel and apologise. And you have to do it on TV, you fucktards. You fucking give him. And my brother also hates my art, and I think he inherited that from my dad. They both were colluding with each other, I get the feeling, against my creative photocopier use, because it's not considered normal. And both my dad and my brother are both so-called normal people, obsessed with normalcy to the point of stupidity. Anyway, enough of that tirade. That looks really quite interesting. But I'm going to do maybe some switcheroos, folks, to verify that this is as good as it gets. But basically, my dad and my brother are both bullies, and they both don't respect my creative use of the photocopier. I know I focused mainly on my dad because my brother got bullied because of me and my photocopier work. So my brother did have a reason, but basically it's not an excuse to be so mean-spirited. I didn't ask to be bullied, have him bullied. I knew it was going to happen when he came to high school back in 1988. I knew I was dreading it, and I really hated my brother being bullied. I knew I was going to cop it, but it kept happening into the early 90s, and we used to fight all the time as a brother and a sister. We used to fight all the time, and it was really horrible, and my brother was always the dominant one, and I was the fucking pissant that I couldn't defend myself properly. He was too fucking strong. He was too fucking dominant, my brother. He used to threaten to destroy things if I didn't do things his way. So it was really frightening dealing with my brother in the early 90s when we were living together. He always used to tell me to clean my bedroom when it was none of his fucking business. He used to tell me not to play my music, even though he played his music loud in the lounge room, and I wasn't allowed to play it at all, even at a low volume. So I've really got a history against both my dad and my brother. And I need to fucking get closure, because I really need to hoping to find my partner Luigi. But there is one thing I have to say to my brother and my father. If you apologise on television, I will forgive you. I will forgive you both, but you won't get forgiveness if you fucking don't, okay? I'm not going to talk to you anymore if you don't apologise. I'm not going to see you ever again if you don't apologise. It's all up to you. The ball's in your court, fucktards. Sorry about the language, but I'm really pissed. Years of anger and years of frustration, years of feeling little and treated like shit. I know I was a bullying target at school and I couldn't, but I don't expect it from my fucking family as well, folks. So I'm just going to finish off this last version of this piece. And basically, yeah, these are some interesting arrangements we've made. I think we can now call this rant over.